Christmas is quickly approaching, and there are once again rumors of Papa Elon loosening the cultural purse strings one more time. This time, supposedly, for the video game, or not video game, board game slash toy maker Hasbro. And I've actually been thinking about this for quite some time since there were rumors that Hasbro would be selling, because there is a certain corner of reality which Hasbro represents and occupies that are kind of at the culmination of a lot of the things that Elon Musk has been talking about for quite some time. It has, for a long time, kind of made sense that Elon Musk might make a purchase like Hasbro. I've got 6 points to go over, so let's get into it. Now, the first one is this: leverage. Let me tell you a story from my personal life. I have been an investor in Disney since 2008, I believe, somewhere in there. When they bought Marvel, I decided Disney sounded like a pretty good idea. So I went ahead and I bought the stock. Flash forward some number of years, I had wandered my way into a Toys R Us, and I didn't know the layout of the Toys R Us, so I was just kind of walking around, and I look at all of these walls filled with Disney princesses. Interesting. And then I looked at all of these aisles with Marvel action figures. Very interesting. And then I realized that there was Marvel action figures, an aisle of DC action figures and Micro Machines and Hot Wheels, and then there was a whole bunch of Star Wars toys. And I realized in purchasing Disney, I had, in a back alley way, purchased Toys R Us. Now, Toys R Us went bereft, but that is not necessarily the point worth talking about here. The point worth talking about here is one of the things that Disney does, that woke Disney has done, is in their quest to propagate whatever ideas it is that they're trying to propagate, they will create toys and force manufacturers like Hasbro to make toys that are not selling. There is no shortage of videos about the Rose Quantico action figures that you can find lining the streets of San Francisco because they've all been thrown away, and that's where all garbage goes to collect. And there's no way that, I believe those were Hasbro. There's no way that Hasbro would have said, yeah, no, this makes sense. This character who looks to be wearing a burlap sack and is not the target gender of Star Wars toys going to sell billions. There's no way Hasbro thought that. But in order to get the contract from Disney, they had to bite the bullet and make millions of toys that they knew were going to be garbage, and they would have to eat the cost for all of those toys. Elon Musk is not going to do that. You can take your contract and shove it. And we'll get into a little bit later in this video why he will have the leverage to do that. But one of the other battles that Elon Musk has been waging is this battle against Disney. And Disney basically farms out everything. They're kind of like Ford. A bunch of parts get shipped to Ford, and they stamp a little Ford emblem on those parts, and now it's a Ford car. Disney, a lot of the stuff a lot of the consumer-facing items that are Disney, the toys and the electronics and the video games, they don't make them. Someone else makes them. They say, this is Disney approved, and it goes out. Elon Musk has been waging war on Disney and how he says that they are suffering from the woke mind virus as well. By setting himself up with a company like Hasbro, he gets a seat at that table when these marketing ideas are going out. He gets a seat at that table when everyone is trying to make their action figures and stuff the shelves for the holidays, etc. He gets to say, no, we're not taking that contract. They can shove it. Go somewhere else. I don't care. Go somewhere else, do something else. I don't care. So he will get leverage over these other companies and saying whether or not their ideas make any sense. If Elon Musk were handed that contract that said you have to put 6 Rose Tico toys per case of Star Wars toy, he would not have signed that. He would have said, go fund yourself. That would have been the argument from Elon Musk. The next thing here that I want to talk about, generational importance. The quote-unquote play on the next generation. Elon Musk is always talking about the importance of children, the importance of having children, the importance of fostering children. Sure enough, right? That makes enough sense. And one of the ways that intelligence is fostered in the next generation is through play. Intelligence and play go hand in hand. This goes a little bit into the darker realm when you talk about the intelligence levels of people who are schizophrenic. And these are normally people who are more intelligent than not. Those levels of people, the things going on in their head, which are akin to creativity, are magnified when that individual has a higher IQ. Sort of a weird talking point, I understand, but the importance of play is not a curious thing. It is foundational to innovation, which we'll talk about in a moment, but it is foundational as well to the furtherance of the quote-unquote games that we play in society. Politics, essentially it's a game. You boil it down, it's a game. There are real-life implications, but it's a game. People who are not creative and go into politics believe that the only things that can be done are the things that have been done. It's not that way. We can make a better future. People who go into business without creativity think that the only way that things can be done are the way that things have been done. It is not that way. The idea of play is monumental in society, and quite frankly, to an extent, this generation is killing it. This whole idea of some things are okay and not okay, especially in the realm of play, that is not how ideas are born out. And this ultra PC garbage is limiting the ideas of play. And we will suffer the consequences for that. Now, one of the things for which Elon Musk is renowned is his own skill of innovation. If you are a stockholder of Hasbro, I do not know that he would buy the whole company outright, but if he does, you will not be a stockholder of Hasbro. But if he decides to buy just enough of the company to own it, then you can kiss your dividend goodbye. Right now, I believe they pay a 2.8% dividend. That's gone, baby. Elon Musk does not believe in them. Elon Musk will be saving that money and putting it towards R&D, research and development. He will be innovating toys. He will be making toys great again. He will be pumping dollars into the innovation of play. And that will pay dividends in the innovation of intelligence for future generations. It does not sound very compelling if you are a small-time value investor, but I promise you that is what will happen. There will be no dividend. Elon Musk will be taking that money and investing it into research, development, innovation, perhaps buying different IPs in the company. That's another thing that kind of compounds on this. When you are Hasbro, you own your IP, which we'll talk about in a minute. But Elon Musk in this situation will have a place to acquire basically the he will basically be the island of lost toys for IPs that are unfashionable. He has the ability to do that. So Marvel all of a sudden decides that was it the Argonauts that they had in the 70s? The Argonaut, we've got nothing to do with these. These ideas are too far out there. These ideas of the Argonauts, they are some type of ist. We're going to sell them off. Well, Elon Musk gets to buy them through Hasbro and actually have something to do with it. In that this can be not through his pocketbook, but through the idea that Hasbro is making money, and instead of paying out a dividend, they can fork over $75 million cash to Disney for the Argonauts. Whatever that thing is. The number 3 point here that I think is worth talking about is SpaceX. Why is there not a line of SpaceX toys? Elon Musk talks about the importance of future generations. Elon Musk talks about the importance of getting off of this planet. Part of getting off of this planet and into another world is going to be innovation beyond Elon Musk. Raising that next generation of astronaut. Raising that next generation of innovator. There's no way. So the place where I work, it's a retail establishment. There is a spaceship with a generic space person. Why aren't there SpaceX toys? For that matter, why aren't there an easily accessible line of Tesla toys? Why aren't there an easily accessible line of Neuralink toys playing doctor, not with the connotations that playing doctor normally carries in civilization, in society, but you see what I'm saying, right? The idea that for Elon Musk, all of these businesses he has will have an arm for creating merchandise that is child accessible. Hot Wheels, but it's just electric cars. A remote control car, but it's a Cybertruck. Tesla does some of these things in small supplies. There's no reason for the small supplies anymore. If he owns Hasbro, just pump them out there. Now, this next one, XAI video games. Elon Musk recently took to Twitter and said, hey, I'm tired of all the woke stuff in video games. With XAI, we're going to create a division for video games. Well, guess what? Now you have your footprint directly in culture. You were able to say, oh, we're going to come out with orcs versus ninjas, whatever that game would be. And guess what, guys? Kids are going to love it because there's going to be action figures immediately available. This kind of harkens back to the days of yore, the days of the 80s when IPs were created action figure first. You had the action figure and decided to build a Saturday morning cartoon around it. Maybe you have an idea for action figures and you decide to make a beat-em-up game around it, a side-scroller game around it, a 1v1 fighting game around it. All of a sudden, this makes perfect sense. And it is culture, the next stepping stone that Elon Musk is constantly sort of tipping his hat towards. Culture, not business, not space fair, not tunnels. It's an actual Elon Musk business, boring company. None of those things, but culture. I was born in 1985. I cannot tell you the inundation that I cannot tell you how inundated my childhood was with action figures. There were action figures everywhere in every store at the time because the marketing ploy was to create the IP figure first. You could get back to something like that. And guys, these are the properties that we still talk about today. The properties from the 80s are things that we still talk about today. Talking about old properties. There's this idea. The IP that Hasbro currently has. Now, I am no expert on Hasbro, but maybe Google is. Some of the ideas, or some of the IPs, Nerf, Transformers, Play-Doh, and G.I. Joe. Who doesn't want to see these things in the hands of an Elon Musk? Maybe it's not Elon Musk that you like, but someone like him. Who doesn't want to see Nerf in the hands of someone who was absolutely insane enough to sell a flamethrower under the guise of calling it not a flamethrower? Who doesn't want to see Play-Doh in the hands of the guy who has the materials department necessary to develop the Cybertruck exterior? You're telling me that G.I. Joe couldn't use a guy who is as history intensive as Elon Musk? If he buys Hasbro, all of a sudden you're getting G.I. Joe video games through XAI. All of a sudden you're getting Transformers video games through XAI. I thought He-Man was Hasbro, but I could not find that anywhere on the internet. That would be a great IP to be able to save from the wriggling fingers of nefarious wokedom. Nerf. Imagine those things 4,000 times stronger. Imagine those things with innovative sights. Imagine those things with scopes. Whatever it is that you want to imagine on a Nerf gun, imagine it. And he has the material sciences guys to make a Nerf football that does not always look like it's been chewed on by a dog. All of these properties could use a little bit of innovation. And people as smart as the people with whom Elon Musk surrounds himself are absolutely the people to do it. Now, the final thing I want to talk about, I dropped my pen. That's not it. The final thing I want to talk about is kind of, I hate to say it, something I don't know anything about. The reason that this sort of discussion popped up is surrounding a guy who is being disparaged by the people currently running Dungeons & Dragons. Apparently, Elon's a Dungeons & Dragons fan. I'm not a D&D guy. I'm not going to pretend to be for this video. So I will just sort of communicate this story as I know it. There's a guy who basically more or less created Dungeons & Dragons. He is no longer part of it. I don't know if he's still alive. But the current people who are running Dungeons & Dragons for Hasbro have kind of tried to distance themselves from him, have kind of tried to say he was a bad guy. We don't have to have anything to do with him. Here's one thing. So the rest of this video has been things that I think Elon Musk would be great for. This last point is not me making that argument. This last point, rather than that, is me saying, hey, I've followed a lot of the things that Elon Musk has done for a very long time. Here's something that I can tell you 1,000% about the man that is Elon Musk. If it itches in the back of his mind that something is an injustice, he's not going to stop. If it itches in the back of his mind that something is wrong, he's going to take a pretty big swing at it. If it itches in the back of his mind that something could be corrected and he's the guy to do it, he's going to give it the old college try. Elon Musk dedicates himself 1,000% to whatever it is that he thinks is right. Whatever that is. He revolutionized electric cars, made them profitable when no one else could do it. He's landing rockets when no one else thought he could do it. Look up Thunderfoot. If you are a classic YouTuber, if you are a fan of retro YouTube, look up Thunderfoot and the Elon derangement syndrome that he has developed over the years. When Elon Musk has this in the back of his mind that something is wrong and he can fix it, guys, I don't know what will stop him. I have followed Elon Musk for a very long time. He has done a lot of wild stuff. He has said a lot of wild things. And when he has the chance to fix something that he finds wrong, it's full throttle. So we might get a little bit. So right now, Hasbro is valued at $9.09 billion. He paid $44 for Twitter. He could buy half of Hasbro for 4.6. 10% of what it was that he paid for Twitter. Now, obviously that sort of starts changing once he starts putting money in. Other people don't want to sell. They want to be part of the Elon Musk company, right? So there's going to be a lot of fluidity to the situation. But as of right now, he could own 50% of the company for $4.6 billion. I don't think it is that far-fetched.